make sense what the suffering was for. Cause I got out my head and I got in my bag. No time to be crying, there's money to make. I'll do what I gotta, whatever it takes. Cause I'm pushing myself to be one of the great. And my time is right now, I cannot wait.
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today's episode, I'm fucking thrilled to talk about. I actually wanted to release it last week, but then I ended up having a quick little bit of a mental reflection breakdown, if you will, when I just had a moment where I took 15 minutes and just really reflected on my life. So I just kind of sidetracked the podcast. But today's episode is going to be called, or the topic I should say, is going to be on willingness to embrace your emotions. And the reason we're going to be talking about this is because, like I said, doing some reflecting, I am so fucking grateful to be in the life that I'm in right now. Like literally right now, as you go, like if you're watching the video or if you're listening to the audio, I'm going to set the scene for you. I'm sitting down in my home office, my desk. I literally just found out there's a brand new window in my office. Not brand new, but there's an office, it's brand new to me. I didn't know this window was even in the office room. And I'm sitting here, full open exposure, looking out at my community that I live in. And I'm super fucking grateful to be here. And do you want to know the only reason why I'm sitting here looking out at the trees, at the communities, at the kids, at my neighbors, looking like, they're playing in the yard. One's on rollerblades, one's on a bike. I'm looking over at the horizon and I see a bunch of trees where there's some paths and, like the breeze, it feels fucking great. And I'm in my work office, and it's just wild. And do you want to know the only reason why I'm sitting here? The only fucking reason why I'm sitting here so successful and like basking in my successes and just like my fruits of my labor is for my willingness to embrace my fucking emotions. Like entirely, that's straight up what it is. I mean, obviously with an asterisk, there's always layers and levels to every conversation, but your willingness to embrace your emotions is literally everything. And if you learn how to embrace your emotions, then it's like your life's going to like excel in so many different avenues. And I want to break it down into 4 different avenues of where you need to learn how to embrace your emotions. And then I want to give you 2 takeaways on how to become more aware of when you're not embracing your emotions and what you can do to make sure you're fucking always constantly embracing your emotions. So the 4 areas that when you learn how to embrace your emotions that are going to immediately see some success is going to be your career development, your personal development, your fitness, and your relationships. Like prime example, let's talk about like career development. If you want that promotion or you want that raise, you're going to have to embrace your emotions to hit sale targets, hit sale quotas. You're going to have to compete with the people next to you. You're going to have uncomfortable conversations. You're going to have to embrace your insecurities, your self-doubts, and your emotions to have those conversations to, put yourself out there in an authoritative figure to advance your career, embracing your emotions. When it comes to personal development, maybe you suffer with anxiety, maybe you suffer with depression, or maybe you're just fucking, low energy, or maybe you're just like not happy with the way your energy is. You're just not happy. Maybe you're just not fucking happy, period. Any type of personal development in that avenue, you have to embrace your emotions. You don't just wake up one day and just begin creating the life that you want unless you had phenomenal fucking parents and super good support structures and just built different where you just naturally got gravitate towards a good personal development. But regardless, there's always deep layers of our personal development that we need to embrace our emotions to get to the next level, right? Like as a prime example with me and depression and me with anxiety. I had so much anxiety at one point that I would literally not even leave my house and talk to people. That's why I like playing Call of Duty and sitting in the house and playing online video games. Like having anxiety and like literally feeling the animosity and the what's the right word I want to use with this one? Because it's like when you have really bad anxiety, it's hard to really pinpoint it. Like you just feel like the weight of the world is on your body, your soul, your mind, and it's just absolutely crushing you. Like I remember one time getting into an argument with my best friend, Shadow Julian, and he was trying to get me just to come to a casual party. He's like, grab your 6-pack. Everyone just came out, we're watching the game, X, Y, and Z. And I literally like was arguing with him, talking about I didn't exist. These people. I had such bad social anxiety and such bad like inferiority feelings in my life at one point that I literally was too anxious to go. And I convinced that I was like, nah, nobody knows me, like da 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 da. And it's like for me to be in the position I am now, like, doing podcasts, doing online content, sharing valuable stories of how I grew, having a full online client roster list, helping them every day change their lives. It's like, I could never do that unless I embraced my emotions to go through that anxiety, and I had to learn and develop and grow through that. So if you struggle with anxiety, you struggle with depression, you struggle with anything that's in the way of your personal development, you're going to have to embrace your emotions. Fitness, prime fucking example. If you're fat, you're out of shape, you're skinny, whatever the word is that like really emotionally evokes you, that hurts you, I want you to really, that's where you fucking rip that out and like hold that word close to your soul and embrace that emotion, right? When people called me fat before, I didn't fucking like it. When people said, look, your love handles, I did not like it. When I looked in the mirror and I did not see abs, I did not like it. So in order for me to change my fitness, I had to embrace my emotions around it to change it. And it gets on every single level, right? Like, because nobody in this world is going to come save you and make these changes in your life that you want. When it comes to your career, when it comes to your person, when it comes to your fitness, like at every moment, at every fucking second, it's entirely on you to make these changes. And all you have to do to go from point A to point B within a simple sense, obviously with an asterisk, because there's layers and levels to these successes, is embrace your fucking emotions. The fourth area of your life where you really need to learn how to embrace your emotions and be willing to, that's a key word I want you to understand here when I'm talking about changing your life and embracing your emotions. It's you're willing to. It's your willingness to embrace your emotions. No one's going to come in this world and fucking save you. It's on you to be willing to walk through these doors in your mind, in your life, and into these avenues of your life to embrace the emotions to get to the other side. And the fourth one is relationships, right? How many, I'm going to speak for males, right? Males are very egotistic, carry a lot of pride, and that carries over into relationships, right? Like whether it's your friendships, whether it's like, your partner, whether it's your family. And that has a horrible, horrible, horrible way of bleeding into negative patterns, Like how many times do you hear about a guy and a girl they're dating for years and the guy's pride is just because he can't say sorry. Or, his ego is being tested and he just causes arguments, right? This goes with females too, right? Like it takes two to tango. But on both ends, right? Like when you're in a relationship and you guys are going through not a rough patch, but trying to grow, develop, and, get to the next stage of life, you guys have to be on the same page and both be fucking willing to embrace your emotions to get to that next level, that next stage of communication, the next stage of camaraderie, the next stage of love, the next stage of passion, whatever the fuck it may be. But with relationships too, it comes all down to your willingness, right? And that's when it comes down to where guys have their pride and their ego and they're not as willing to like embrace these emotions because, from fear of failure, fear of being soft, fear of judgment, whatever it is. So, maybe one time in their life they had this one big old conversation where someone ripped them the fuck apart and was like, yo, you fucking can't say that or talk about your emotions, right? That's a big thing I realized with some of my friends that grew up with stern father figures and stuff, right? There was like emotions make you weak. But it all comes down to your willingness for all four of these avenues of your life, your career, your personal fitness, and your fucking relationships, right? And the reason why I want to talk about willingness to embrace your emotions is because it all stems down to every area of your life we talk about, the four of them. It all stems back to your own insecurities, your own self-doubts, your own self-limiting beliefs, and your own past traumas, right? Like prime example, I'm going to give two examples for my personal development and my fitness development was like let's talk about my fitness development, right? This is a huge passion of mine. I was 21 years old. I was depressed as fuck. I was trying for 8 months prior to October of 2014 to try to get my life in order, right? So technically I was trying since January of 2014 to get my life in order. I'll never fucking forget it. I was giving it my all. And I get cold chills every time I say this story. Because when people highlight me and put me on this pedestal of like, yo, you're in such good shape, or you're just all these different physical attributes and accolades, like, I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's like, don't get it twisted of where I've come from, right? I'll never forget, I was 21 years old. I looked in the fucking mirror. I was 8 months, 9 months of me fucking grinding. Like, I'm talking about, like, I went to bodybuilding.com. I was following the meal plan they had on there. I bought like $150 worth of supplements. I was taking all the multivitamins, the amino acids. And I remember like literally in 8, 9 months, I got stretch marks around my hips. And I was like, holy fuck. And I remember I looked in the mirror and I was just like, man, like I can't do this anymore. And I was severely depressed at the time. I was really going through, that was honestly when I had like the most suicidal tendencies and stuff, not to be too much information or like to trigger anybody, if you will. But it's like in that moment there for my fitness journey, for me to be sitting here in such great shape now. And I've never been this happy in my life, physically, ever. And there's like, I deal with a lot of pain as well, and I'm fucking feeling great. But that one moment when I was 21 years old, when I looked in the mirror and I had that gut check, and it was like, if I don't make a change, I'm probably not going to live my life much longer. If it wasn't for me to have the willingness to embrace those emotions on the other side of whatever the fuck I was feeling that day, which was my severe depression, which we can talk, it'll be a whole different episode about like, my less self-limiting beliefs, my past traumas, my insecurities, my self-doubts. That's all that stuff intermingled into one day, having that breaking point. But I'm so thankful I was willing to embrace those emotions. And when it comes to my fitness journey, right? Like if it wasn't for me to willingness to embrace those emotions, I put my pride aside. I put my ego aside. I put my scarcity mindset aside. I invested into a coach. And what's crazy is I struggled for 9 months straight, and then as soon as I hired a coach, I mean, again, it was drastic, right? Like, a lot of people don't see this type of success, immediately when they hire a coach or an online trainer. But if you're this type of person like me, where you go all in when you're committed, then I lost 35 pounds within 60 days, whereas when I started the fitness journey, I ended up gaining weight. I ended up gaining weight and getting stretch marks, right? So literally within 2 months, just from that one decision of me to embrace my emotions, embrace my insecurities, and embrace my past traumas, once I got on the other side of embracing it, I literally seen immediate success in my life. I went from a kid that was insecure, looked in the mirror, was like, man, like that gut check. I don't know if I'm gonna survive. I genuinely, right hand up to God, I don't know if I'm gonna make it that much longer. And it's hard to say that, right? It's very hard to say that because it's fucking real. And if I wasn't willing to embrace that simple decision to embrace those emotions, I would not be sitting here having this podcast, talking to you guys online and changing a lot of people's lives, mentally, physically, and spiritually, emotionally, like everything. And it comes down to your willingness to embrace it. Was it easy? Fuck no. I lost 35 pounds. I went to the gym 6 times a week. I tracked every fucking calorie that went into my body. I did an hour of cardio near the end of my program almost every single day. So it wasn't fucking easy, but it was my willingness to embrace the emotions and go through the next steps of my life, you know? And that's a big thing for my personal development as well, was how I'm fucking sitting here right now. Was straight up for me, my willingness to embrace my emotions. This one kind of ties into personal development and career development, but my willingness to embrace my personal and career development and just get to the other side of it. Once I made that decision, my career has nonstop blown up. I ended up becoming an entrepreneur, starting my own online business, and have a full client roster list where I'm literally exceeding every expectation I've ever set. It's crazy. So this is how it started. One day, how old am I now? 28 years old right now. I would have been about 25 years old. I was going through management development workshops in a corporate business. If anyone that works for corporate, you start to climb the ranks. You start to go through their algorithms, if you will, or if you pat your head and rub your belly, all this bullshit like that. They'll kind of give you a little accolades, a little bonus here, a little bonus here, time off here, whatever the fuck they sell your soul on, right? That's what it is. But that's a whole different side tangent. But pretty much what happened was, I did everything they wanted me to do. I did all the management development workshops. I did all of the trainings, the crucial accountabilities, did everything they needed me to do. And I still ended up getting myself capped out to a point where, I just still wasn't happy, still wasn't seeing success. I still didn't have the balance in my life that I ultimately felt like I deserved. I feel like I wasn't being compensated for it. You just if you understand, you understand. And I really hope you don't ever have to understand. I hope you've been grateful enough to find passion with your career and your personal development to have a little bit more of a structure and a balance. But pretty much I remember sitting there, right? I was supposed to get a promotion for a general manager position, never got it. And there was this long string of bullshit answers of why I didn't get it, why the other person got it, and all these different things, right? And the biggest thing that it taught me was, in that moment, if I wasn't willing to embrace my emotions and really just attack what was on the other side of this battle, right? Blatantly, I deserved the promotion. Blatantly, I knew from a personal standpoint too, let alone the career development, was I knew I deserved it from a maturity standpoint. I have a business degree. I went through all the workshops. So it was a lot of weight in here, right? And I could have easily put that all to the side and not embrace those emotions, right? I could have sat there, got frustrated, and embraced those emotions, right? Got frustrated, got depressed, locked myself out of my own life, and became a statistic ultimately. But instead, my willingness to embrace the emotions and be like, do you want to know what? I don't believe this is fair, and go through the other side of it, led me into being this isn't what my worth is, So by me being willing to embrace my emotions, I was able to find more of my own self-worth and to argue and my point back, and win certain avenues, which led me into putting my 2 weeks in, which led me into becoming an operations manager for 2 other small businesses, which exceeded my expectations as well, which I ended up doing for another 1.5 years. And if it was not for me willing to embrace my emotions, I wouldn't have been able to get to that other opportunity and have that conversation with other people and be so certain of what side of the table that I was on, right? And again, was it easy? Fuck no, none of this shit's easy. Just like anything in life that's worth having, it's not easy, right? But it's one of those things where it's always worth it. That's the biggest thing you got to understand. And when you decide that your willingness to embrace your emotions and you decide to walk through that door, that's when you got to understand that you're taking the time for you to decide that you're fucking worth it. Now, I can rant honestly all day about your willingness to embrace your emotions, but the reason why I'm ranting about it a lot, I know there's a lot of fucking reasons why I'm ranting about it, but one of the biggest reasons is I had the opportunity to run a men's mental health campaign last November for, men's mental health awareness for prostate cancer and suicide for November, And when I was running this campaign, I got a lot of questions of like, how did you do it? Like, how did you run this campaign? Because what it was, I went to a gym, I wrote up a script of a workout and wrote up a script for mental health conversations. And we all had a good workout together while asking questions. And we capitalized on, being brutally beat up during a workout while asking vulnerable questions, right? To give people like, that mental health awareness. And people were like, well, how'd you do it? Like, how'd you like have the confidence to go to this gym? Because to be honest, this facility I went to, I was fucking super insecure to go there one day. Like at one point in my life, like again, going back to me being 21 years old, I would be like, man, I wish I was worthy to go to this gym. Fast forward 7, 8 years and me like going back to grinding, willing to embrace my emotions to get to the other side of it. I'm there putting the staff through a little bit of a friendly workout, gaining that community camaraderie and, spreading mental health awareness. But I keep getting questions about like, how did I do it? And how did I get my life into that position? And it's straight up, it's my willingness to embrace the emotions when they came up, right? I had the opportunity from embracing my emotions. And in that moment, it was like, yo, do you want to do X, Y, and Z? And it was like, embrace my emotions. Let's get it. And honestly, that's a big trend in my life to get to where I'm at, right? So I'm going to close it up by giving you 2 takeaways on how you today as a listener and as a viewer can learn how to embrace your emotions more, but also learn to become more self-aware so you're willing to embrace your emotions, because you can't just acknowledge how you're feeling and then assume everything's going to get better. You have to be willing to attack these relentlessly. So takeaway number 1 is your comfort zone. If you're literally in a position in your life where you're comfy, you're almost stagnant, or you're complacent, you have to understand that you're ultimately not embracing your emotions enough. And that just means that you're not in a position where you're uncomfortable. And I'm going to make this very simple. So anyone that's ever started a fitness goal, that getting that regiment down, getting the nutrition down, getting your fitness down, getting your lifestyle from point A to point B to an alignment, so scale your fitness, your fitness and portfolio, let's say. Like let's say you've never been to the gym before, making those lifestyle changes is very, very, very fucking hard. You're uncomfortable the whole time. Same with when you're like, excelling in school, excelling in business, excelling in your career, whatever it is. When you're trying to get to the next level, you know what it's like to be uncomfortable. So if you can get yourself in a position to become a very, 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 very self-aware where you're not uncomfortable, this can be even down into relationships, right? Like me and Emma, like I'm very fortunate for our relationship because we're honestly just 2 peas in a pod. We're a partnership. We understand each other. We understand each other's needs most days. And it's like a partnership where we're both willing to get uncomfortable to embrace that deeper level of a relationship, right? And that's what I mean. Like if you're comfortable, whatever area of your life you're comfortable in, too comfortable in, to the point where it's like, you can tell, and this is where you can have a long rant about personal integrity about, is your gut telling you're too comfortable on the left side or the right side? Left side means you're fucking being lazy. The right side means, okay, you're pressing that boundary just a little bit. And that's what I'm saying. So you got to get uncomfortable. Once you get uncomfortable, that's when you're tested with your willingness to embrace the emotions, right? And we're talking about realistic things here. We're not talking about like, I don't know, I can't even think about anything crazy. Like I'm just saying like simple things like, career development. Is there a promotion? Do you think you're worthy for the promotion and you're not going to apply for it? Shut the fuck up, embrace your emotions, and be willing to embrace your emotions, apply for it. Relationship. Is there that girl, that guy, that partner, that person that you want to talk to? And it's as simple as, I just don't feel confident to say, hey, what's up, whatever. Embrace your emotions, fucking talk to them. Get uncomfortable. Same thing with your fitness, whatever it is, get uncomfortable and fucking grow. So that's takeaway number 1, is start becoming more self-aware on when you're uncomfortable. Number 2, which is how to become more self-aware, is you need to find some avenue of a self-reflection routine for you. Whether it's in the shower, whether it's your drive to work with no music, whether it's journaling, whether it's meditating, whether it's going for walks, taking your dog, talking to somebody, whatever it is, you got to have something in your life that's pivotal where you can really self-reflect and become really aware and acknowledge, okay, am I uncomfortable? Am I not uncomfortable? Am I embracing my emotions? Am I not embracing my emotions? When I'm embracing my emotions, is it working? Is it not working? Might be an ass. So what emotions am I fucking feeling? You have to have some form of reflection to see what avenue you are. And me personally, I'm going to offer the 2 ones that I think are the best for self-reflection is journaling and meditating. And journaling is not some fucking hooky spooky bullshit where you had to follow this algorithm of what you're writing down. It's all about write on a piece of paper your fucking thoughts. And then meditating is reading your fucking thoughts and thinking about your thoughts. That's as simple as you can make it. If you find other avenues where you find like, frequency of music, lo-fi music, if there's rock and roll, if there's rap, if there's fucking whatever it is, Everything else is entirely up to you. And that's where, some people make jokes about it, but the ones that usually make jokes about it are the ones that are not willing to embrace their emotions. I feel like that's a good segue to finish the episode. I appreciate you guys all so much for listening. And if you really do honestly feel like you're not embracing your emotions, I want you to ask yourself why. Just why. And this is where you get into a really deep rooted conversation about like your insecurities, your traumas, the things you've been through, your like anxiety, depression, OCD, whatever the fuck it is, because I'm not ever going to deny like, the hardship of what it takes to get to certain levels of your life. You know what I mean? And that's why I love the space that I'm in, because you cannot deny the past traumas. You cannot deny the self-doubts and insecurities. However, you still got to do something with them. That's why when I heard that quote that what has happened to you in your lifetime, whether it's like, like any type of trauma, like I was going foster care, didn't know my father, car accidents, all these different things. A car accident is a really good example for this quote, right? Like 2011, hit by a car, severely in pain. My back hurts right now saying it, right? And it's like on one side of the table, I could sit here and be like, man, like my whole life is this way because of this, right? But when I heard this quote, which is what happened to you may not be your fault, however, it's still your responsibility, which means we're never going to take away the hardships of what has happened. However, we still need to be willing to embrace the emotions to get to the other side of that. And I'm going to wrap it up right there. I hope you guys have a good fucking week, and let's fucking go.
Who's on my side, I don't know anymore. Cause it's more than a battle, we going to war. And losing again, I just cannot afford. I think it's my time to go even the score. What you see on the surface attached to my core. I'm stacking my paper, but feeling for more. One hell of a ride, but I'm staying on board. And now it makes sense what the suffering was for. Cause I got out my head and I got in my bag. No time to be crying, there's money to make. I'll do what I got.